Please welcome your hosts for this evening. Lights, camera, what's the action?
Welcome to Lights, Camera, What's the Action, the podcast about betting on film and television awards. I'm Tony Coca-Cola. Over there, well, in honor of the late, great Catherine O'Hara, it's midnight at the Oasis with the Professor. Hello, Professor.
Oh, welcome, Tony. Great to be back in the zone of Melania with you.
Oh, yes. And over there, in further honor of the late, great Catherine O'Hara, he's not wearing underwear. It's Max Wren. Hello, Max.
Howdy, Tony.
Oh, that was very sad about Catherine. We love her. Let's get in odds and ends. We've had, since our last episode, we've had the BAFTA nominations. We had a few surprises. No Madigan for supporting actress was probably the biggest one. And Kate Hudson got in for lead actress. Now, Max, you've seen the song Sung Blue. How does Hudson go in that film? Is she worthy of these two nominations, BAFTA and Oscar?
Well, in terms of her career, I would peg it as the best performance of her career. It's a very meaty role. It's a very well-rounded role. It's you bring the emotion to it. There's the tears and the sadness and the joy. So it really does hit. It does hit on a very kind of on a melodramatic level, and there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, I cried along with it and sung along with it as well. So I can see, in some ways, yeah, it could be seen as a kind of low rent B film, but I mean, so many of those. It made me think back to films of the 70s and some of the Jonathan Demme films too of the early 80s, just about ordinary people, and we don't get. In America, in American cinema, we don't get that many films like that anymore. I think it's a really worthwhile film, and I think it's a performance that is worthy.
And as always with the BAFTAs, there's a predictably heavy British slant with some of the nominees, with films like I Swear and Ballad of Wallace Island. They both did pretty well. We also had the Writers Guild Award nominations, and there were a few surprises here too. Finally, getting in somewhere. If I Had Legs got in for original screenplay.
Yay!
Oh, hooray.
Oh, great.
As did Black Bag, the Soderbergh film,
Yes.
the Cate Blanchett, Michael Fassbender. Have any of you seen that one?
I started to watch it and then just really lost interest. I was very disappointed by that film. Really disappointed by that film. I don't know. Maybe that's just me.
I liked it. I didn't like the cinematography. I think some of it was shot on iPhones and stuff.
Well, Professor, tell us all, why not? What have you/we been watching?
Well, Tony, let's talk about the Palme d'Or winner. It was Just an Accident. This was a film that I saw mid last year. It was a long time ago at the local film festival. And the enthusiasm for this film, the laughter, the oohs and ahs really lifted and boosted my enthusiasm for the film. It is thrilling, it's darkly funny, and it's a world that I don't know too well, but at the same time, it was very relatable. And I think it has one of the best finales of any film in 2025. To talk about the Oscar path for It Was Just an Accident, I've been very bullish on the Best Picture nomination prospects for this film. It's politically relevant. It has the best director narrative of any film or any contender this year. It's critically acclaimed. And of course, we know how that all turned out. It missed the Best Picture nomination. 2 or 3 weeks ago, it started to miss critical precursors. There was an anonymous comment from an anonymous AMPA's voter, which is not representative of a big sample, but this anonymous voter said that he didn't even know what that is, and it missed his algorithm entirely.
Oh, geez.
So that was, I think, a reminder that AMPA's voters are not critics, and it was a warning sign that Neon had not done their work on the awareness and for the right people seeing this film. This is one of the top 5 films of 2025, and it was a B for me.
Yeah, I only saw it very, very recently. Unfortunately, I didn't get to see it in a cinema. I would have really liked to see it in a cinema. I think it would have been a very different experience. And one of the things Professor mentioned there was laughter. And watching it pretty much by myself, I was laughing at some points, and you're not too sure how to respond, obviously, because there are major cultural differences. Jafar Pahani, who's the writer director of this film, very well known in critic circles, a filmmaker with a very distinct humanist vision. He's a filmmaker that has come up against the Iranian government regime many times throughout his career. He's been imprisoned. He's made films in prison, most famously. And I think if he returns, or when he returns to Iran, I think he lives most of the time in France, as I understand it. But if he goes back, he'll be imprisoned again. And that's on the cards for him. And part of it will be this film, because this film is critical of the Iranian regime. This film was made illegally. A number of his films are made illegally because of the narratives of these films. And I'm sure that even the screenplay of this film, if he submitted this to government sources, he would have been imprisoned. It's as simple as that. It would result in prison. So this is a revenge film, and yeah, it is a black comedy at points. It's a really effective thriller. For me, it was a real breath of fresh air to see a kind of indirect storytelling, particularly in the first act. And I'm guessing this is a byproduct of living under a regime where everybody, especially artists, must be incredibly careful about what they say and how they say it, for fear of imprisonment or even worse, which is intimated in the narrative of the film. But getting back to that first act, I felt a kind of delicious confusion at the very beginning. It's like, what is going on? There's very little kind of information about the relationship between some of the main characters. And our main character that we follow is this mechanic guy, and pretty early on in the second scene, he's eliciting this real deep level of anxiety. And we have no idea as the audience of why he's feeling like this. And all of these things are going through your mind, and you're saying, well, is it a cultural thing? Is he involved in illegal activities, this kind of stuff? And that was just an absolutely engaging dramatic setup for me. And it's super well written and staged. This is one of those films where you know that you're in the hands of a master filmmaker, someone who knows exactly how to use the techniques that they've got access to. And in this case, this is a very low budget film, and it had to be made in secret as well. So a lot of the shots are from within a van that we're looking out of a windscreen, a car windscreen, that we can't kind of do setups on the street, because I'm guessing the regime will just come up and slap the handcuffs on him, and that's the end of the day. But he extracts maximum drama from these really long takes that he has. Really great performances by a lot of the actors who are not professional as well, and how it leads up to that final act, which we won't spoil. And then, as the professor said, a final shot that's really chilling, really chilling. So this is nominated for Best International Feature. I don't think it'll win. I think it'll go to Sentimental Value, unfortunately. And it's nominated for the Oscars for Original Screenplay as well. And I don't think it will win that one, even though it's won the Palme d'Or. Yeah, I agree with the professor that, we have to always remember that the Oscar voters are not critics at all. And I would guess any kind of, average American Ampers voter will watch the first 7 minutes of this film and have no idea what's going on. They won't respond to the indirect storytelling that Jafar Pahani is using here, and they probably just switch it off, unfortunately, and they miss out on a really terrific film.
Well, it's finally happened. This is a film that I really like.
Yay!
I didn't love it, but I think I would agree with you, Professor. I think it's top 5 of last year. Yeah, I liked it a lot. I think it's a great premise. I was hooked in, like you, Max, really quickly, and it progresses quickly but naturally. I don't think anything about it is forced. The casting is amazing, performances are amazing, all the behavior really rings true. It's very simply presented. There's a lot of sort of long static takes. Yes, the ending is just, yes, fantastic. I'm disagreeing with what you said there at the end, Max. I think we haven't spoken about the other international feature nominees yet, Secret Agent Surat and Hind Rajab. We'll talk about those in a different episode. I think if you sat down any average voter, any average person, and you put all 5 films in front of them, which one are they voting for is their favorite? I think it's hands down, it's Accident.
No way.
For sure. I think it's easily more accessible than Sentimental Value.
No way.
Oh, I think it's got a premise that hooks you in so quickly. I really disagree.
Hooks us in. Yeah.
No, I disagree. So I'm saying yes to the international feature win. I think he's got to win something.
Whoa.
This film's got to win something somewhere. And I think international feature seems more likely than original screenplay. And then he goes off to jail for a year. It's just, what a story. Yeah. What commitment this man has to his country. It's just astonishing. Yeah, really impressive film all round. What else are we saying, Professor?
All right, Tony. Well, let's jump into Chloe Zhao's Hamnet. Now, just thinking about her second last film, so not her superhero one, but Nomadland, I think, is a film that hasn't aged well. But it's a film that I think unfairly gets that asterisk as the Best Picture winner that was in the COVID era. And that asterisk, I think, deems it as being less worthy, which I think is a bit unfair. But getting into Chloe Zhao's current and new film, Hamnet, this is a film whose adaptation and book by Maggie O'Farrell is one that I read about this time last year. And even though I knew what was coming, particularly in that second sort of key moment in the midway part of the film, in the tragedy that unfolds, it still grabbed me and I was sort of highly emotionally engaged throughout. I want to talk about sort of the emotion and the mood, particularly in that second half of the film where I remember thinking there in the cinema, oh, Chloe, I think you're getting trapped and we're sort of going to marinate in this sadness for the next 90 minutes to an hour of the film. But fortunately, to her credit, in that final scene, there's a very welcome mood shift, and it was a real heart and throat stuff for me. I saw the film with Mrs. Professor. If I hadn't seen the film with Mrs. Professor, I think you would have probably seen some very borderline Claire Danes ugly crying from myself. So Zhao is a very intuitive, elemental filmmaker, and he can really sort of feel the impulses, the subtle choices that the Chinese-American filmmaker has made. I can understand and empathize why, for example, she has had meditation sessions when she started to make the early screenings of this film. I can understand the intention behind that. To talk about some of the Oscar ingredients for this film, I've long thought that Jessie Buckley, the Irish actress, would one day win an Oscar, and it's going to come sooner than expected. It will probably most likely happen in March. But for anyone who's curious about the filmography of Jessie Buckley, I'd encourage you to watch Wild Rose, which I think is actually a better performance. Now, on the sort of downside, I actually do get those people who, and I think, Tony, you might be in this boat, we'll hear from you very shortly, who don't get into this film, who don't sort of get emotionally on board. Mrs. Professor was one of those. She was busily munching on her peanuts next to me. And when the film closes and the end credits rolled up, she just got out of the seat and she said, let's go. For me, I wanted to sit in the Malik marination of it all and contemplate my life. And for some, it might just be a bit too much, a bit too in your face. This is a wonderful adaptation. It was one of my favorite films of 2025, and it was a B for me.
Max, were you moved?
I was. I think this is a very fine film about grief. I think it's a very serious film, and in many moments, it's a very quiet film. It's a very well observed film. It is, to work on some of the themes that the professor was talking about there. It's a very meditative film as well. You can absolutely see the hand of Chloe Zhao, and she's proved herself yet again to be one of the great contemporary filmmakers, and it's just lucky that we're living in this period of her work. Uh, for me, all of the big emotional moments work, particularly the ending, and a lot of people have talked about that ending and the cinema that I was in. Yeah, it was just tears all around for a particular moment that we won't spoil. But how she leads up to that, how Zhao works to that moment to get that kind of emotional crescendo is really masterful, and it all kind of comes together. These kind of elements that are peppered throughout the film manage then just to hit at one particular moment, and then she sustains it for the last couple of minutes of the film, and it's very powerful within a cinema. Very powerful within a cinema. I think it's a really great portrait of an artist, portrait of an artist, and particularly the way in which an artist can process grief and uh, and feed that back into their work. I don't think I've seen another film that does it so masterfully. The performances are all excellent, and I agree with the professor. I think Jessie Buckley will win the Academy Award. Unfortunately for our wages that we've loaded up on. But one other thing that really impressed me too was the cut of the film. It's so well cut, and at the end of the credits, I saw that Chloe Zhao was the editor of the film as well, and just that modulation of within the scenes and then scene to scene is very strong too. So Hamnet, yeah, a real contender for Best Picture. I don't think it'll win, but that performance is, I think, just too strong to deny for the Oscar for Jessie Buckley.
Well, after the highs of accident, this film brought me right back down to my baseline. It was fine. It didn't particularly engage me, move me. It didn't bring me something new or interesting. It's well made, definitely. It's well acted. It's quite understated in terms of its design. It's a Shakespeare era film. It's not as sort of floral and elaborate as you'd expect. It's very earthy and grubby and natural, which is probably more realistic of the times. But it's not as visually impressive as something like Frankenstein. Say, I didn't find Buckley to be as devastatingly, heartbreakingly undeniable as everyone else does, but I agree she's probably going to win the Oscar. She'll definitely win the BAFTA. Byrne winning SAG, that's my only out. Far out that would make things very interesting.
Yeah, I'd love to see that.
Byrne's a lot more Hollywood than Buckley, so maybe. But no other wins anywhere for Hamnet. It was fine.
Chances of it winning Best Picture from your perspective?
Oh, a very distant third, behind One Battle and Sinners. Very distant. I'd put it at probably 15 at best, 15% at best. Not even 10, maybe.
Yeah, I agree. About right, yeah.
Now, Professor, it is time for question time. Have we got some questions?
We do, Tony. The first question from JB, who goes by the handle of Dizzy JB, who asks, will the British Academy vote for their own and go for the homegrown talent like Mescal and Musaku, or stick to the scripts of the race so far? Also, are we going to see a best film, best British film split, again like The Power of the Dog and Belfast, this time with One Battle After Another and Hamnet? What do you think, Jerry?
I don't think. I mean, Mescal is very good in his performance, but I still think they're going to go Stellan Skarsgård for supporting actor for the BAFTA. supporting actress is interesting. I mean, there's also Emily Watson. I mean, it's a very small role in Hamnet, but I mean, she's great. She's really fantastic in that very small role. And yeah, talking about a British connection, maybe Emily Watson can do something with the steel.
True.
I'm not too sure. Sinners, yeah, Sinners. I was not a fan of Sinners, and the performances didn't strike me in that one. I think Emily Watson's performance there in supporting actress is, uh, I don't know, is more profound than Masaku's performance in Sinners for me. With the best British film split, yeah, that could possibly happen. I think it could be sticking with One Battle for best film, and then going with Hamnet for best British film. Yeah, I believe that could be true.
With regards to Mescal and Masaku specifically, I don't see Mescal winning. I think he's a distant third, fourth. Hamnet, for me anyway, it's really Jessie Buckley's film. I don't think Mescal really doesn't have much to do. Masaku is a better chance. If you look at the precursors, Madigan is the outright leader. She's had like 31 precursor wins, but she's not nominated for BAFTA. So the next two are Tiana Taylor with 10 wins and Masaku with 9. So I reckon she's worth a bet, which I might talk about a little later. British film, best film split. I say yes to a split, but I think the British film winner is going to be I Swear. It's got a lead actor nomination, supporting actor nomination, original screenplay, casting, and the Rising Star, the favorite for the Rising Star nominee. I think I Swear is going to get up over Hamnet. Hamnet might be just a bit too, even though it's about Shakespeare, it still might be a bit too American. So that's something else I might talk about a bit later as well.
Oh, very intriguing, Tony. Yeah, I think the BAFTAs are the hardest voting body actually to track and to get a gauge on, particularly with their voting process and some of the political heat that they've copped over the last 3 to 4 years. But for Best Supporting Actress, I agree. This might be Tiana Taylor's greatest threat, and that may come from Lilias, Love of Sentimental Value, or it might come from homegrown Masaku from Jerry's favorite film of 2025 from Sinners. And yes, the scenario of Hamnet winning Best British Film, very, very probable, and then one battle after another to prevail and win Best Film. I think that's very highly likely. So the second question we have is from Brando998, who asks, is Elordi underpriced to win the Oscar? I feel like if he wins SAG, his pricing will narrow considerably. What do you think, Max?
Yeah, that could happen. I don't think he's going to win SAG. I'm sure that Elordi in time will win Oscars, definitely, right? But I don't think he will win. I don't think he's got a great shot to win supporting actor this time for his role in Frankenstein. So yeah, I just don't think it's a going concern there. He is at best third in the race, and yeah, I wouldn't put anything on him even at 10-1.
Yeah, I think he probably is underpriced for the Oscars because he's actually outright fave at SAG for supporting actor. He's paying 210. Sean Penn is second favorite for some reason at 250, and Del Toro is 288. If you look at the precursors, Del Toro's won 21, Skarsgård's 12, Sean Penn 10, Lindo 5, Elordi 4. So he's way down in terms of the precursors. But yeah, like Max said, is Elordi really going to win SAG first time out against like Del Toro and Penn, two heavyweight? That seems like a stretch
for this performance.
Yeah, so I might talk about some SAG betting also a little later on. I got lots to talk about.
Tony. Yeah. So my view is that we won't see Skarsgård at SAG because he didn't even get a nomination. So it comes down to BAFTA and the SAG winner. So who wins BAFTA? It will probably be Skarsgård. And then for SAG, it's a really open race. So just judging by the the odds, we indeed have the Australian actor, the Brisbane boy, Jacob Elordi, who's at $2.10. Sean Penn is strangely second favourite at $2.50 and Del Toro at $2.88. So it's really tight. Just to talk about Sean Penn briefly, I don't understand why he's the second favourite even for the Best Supporting Actor race in the Oscars. His likability factor is questionable. He's already won 2, and he just doesn't really care. I mean, he's showing up to some of these televised events, but the care factor is very low, and I think the AMPAS voters will do the same. So for my top 3, it's Skarsgård, who's I think now correctly priced at $1.60. He's about probably a 60 to 70% shot to win. Del Toro, who I think is at generous odds at 11 to 1 for the Oscar in a stronger film in One Battle After Another. And then Elordi, who will probably have the makeup win tailwinds. The downside is that he's a new kid on the block. There's no narrative, and Jerry, you're correct. We've got a long career and runway to see of other performances and opportunities to reward him that Oscar. The other thing to note about Elordi is that he's actually the frontrunner from the mathematical geniuses, the boys behind Oscar models. So I think there is an opportunity to bet on all 3 of those contenders, and you'll come out in front.
Nice, Professor. Nice. Well, let's get to the long and the shorter things. Professor, what are you long and short on at the moment?
Oh, Tony, I'm very long on the film criticism that's been presented our way with Brett Ratner's The Rat Man is back with a documentary of Melania. And I particularly enjoyed the zone of interest comparisons that produced an audible chuckle for me, plus some other delicious commentary. My other long is a Jordanian film that made the long list of Best International Film. It's called All That's Left of You. And if you would like to sort of understand the modern history of Israel and Palestine, I think this is a great starting point. It's a really, really fine film. It didn't make the final 5, but one that I believe got nominated for the Independent Awards. So if you see that at your local cinema, highly recommended.
What are you short on, Professor?
I'm short on Paddy Power, who are also the owners of Sportsbet, who have presented a grand total of 3 BAFTA markets, and they've got no Razzies markets. And Sportsbet, who also own and operate under the umbrella of Paddy Power, they have pulled their Razzie markets. So my opportunity to get involved with War of the Worlds, Tony, I just might not get on this year.
That's a travesty, Professor. It's a travesty.
And Sportsbet have no BAFTAs markets. Shame on you. Shameful.
Yeah, that's a great sadness. Yeah. Max, what are you long and you short on?
Well, maybe, yeah, it's in the air, Tony. It's in the air. I'm long in documentaries that actually believe in something. I'm long on documentaries that have something to say about our world, that hold a conviction. I've watched a number of docos just in the last couple of days that that give me an insight into the world. Sometimes really difficult ones, sometimes just that say something. And I kind of related to that. I would say I'm short on $40 million documentaries, and that's all I'll say.
Right, I am long. Get ready for this. I am long on War of the Worlds. This wasn't nearly as bad as I thought it was going to be. To be sure, yes, it is a horrible script and it's horrible performances and there are horrible effects. I actually like the attempt of trying to make a film based around like a collection of screens. I think someone's going to write a PhD on this film about frames within frames, screens within screens. Might be a crap PhD, but I think there's something interesting in it.
100% agree, Tony. As an exercise in form and just screen sharing.
Yes.
Maybe Michael Mann can take some lessons there from Black Hat. I think it's fascinating.
Yeah, I reckon there's something to it. I am short on a few things. Like you, Professor, I'm short on all the bookies except for Bet365 for not putting up odds for the shorts categories. I need more prices, more options, please, for the shorts. So get involved. Again, like you, Professor, I'm short on no Razzie market. Sportsbet has had them all year. And then as soon as the nominations come out, nothing. We pull them. That's absolutely crap work. And I'm also short on, as of this recording anyway, only 2 original song performances during the Oscar ceremony. So no Nick Cave performance at the Oscars at the moment. That's really, really crap work. That's very, very disappointing.
And your girl Diane Warren will also miss out, Tony.
Ah, Diane. Well, she's kicked up a bit of a stink.
Yes.
Because, she says, well, we all perform or none of us perform. And that's very easy to say when you were not going to perform anyway.
Maybe she could sing Golden.
Oh, wow. Yeah, we'll get Nick Cave and everyone will just do a massive medley. Yeah, that would be good. Okay, we have a special guest with us today. It's a very special episode. It's a very special episode of Blossom. No, he's all the way. Let me tell you about this guy. He's all the way from The Contending at thecontending.com, and he's all the way from Awards Watch at awardswatch.com. He's a member of the Critics' Choice Association. He's an expert, a certified expert at the Gold Derby. He's the Awards Alchemist. It's Mark Johnson. G'day, Mark.
Hey, everybody. How are you guys doing?
Good. Thanks so much for popping in. Much appreciated. So just let's set it all up first, please. What's your background? How did you sort of find your way into Hollywood award reportage?
Okay, so there's 2 things about me I think that all my friends know is that I love movies and I'm very competitive. And so so I latched onto the Oscars at a very young age. The first Academy Awards that I watched were the awards for 1988 for Rain Man. And because I loved that movie and I learned about the Oscars, so I said, can I stay up late and watch that? And my parents let me. So since 88, I've been watching the Oscars religiously. And in around 1997, I kind of started my own Oscar pool. And then I got very good at the predicting and it got bigger with my pool. So after a dozen years of that or so, I eventually made the leap online and started my own site in 2009 called Award Contenders. And I did that for almost 2 years or so, and then was recruited over by my buddy Clayton Davis, who is now the awards editor at Variety. But I wrote with Clayton from 2011 to 2020, I think it was, when he went over. And then from there, went over to my my mentor and hero growing up in this industry, Sasha Stone, at Awards Daily, and had a great few years there writing. And then now, like you mentioned, I'm over with Awards Watch and The Contending. And so just, passion for film and film awards and being competitive with predictions, I think, is kind of what lured me into this space.
Very interesting, Mark. And we're recording this interview with you about 48 hours after the Golden Globes. The poly market infused Golden Globes. So
it was very subtle, wasn't it?
Yes, indeed.
It was interesting for sure. Yeah.
Yes. So just turning our attention to the Oscars. So it's 2 months away approximately now. And beyond AMPAS becoming more international in their voting in recent years, what are the other changes that you've seen and what's sort of driving those changes?
Yeah, so I think there's 3, there have been several changes, I would say, but there's 3 really big ones that have kind of changed the race a little bit. In 2009, you have the preferential ballot coming into play, where when they go to vote for the Best Picture winner, they now rank their votes instead of what they do in the other now 23 categories, is select just one winner, right? So that changed things a lot because you wouldn't see more controversial or basically it became more consensus, right? What film is safest, friendliest? You kind of had to predict more in the middle, a little more with emotion and whatnot than than in past years. And then you also had the diversity push in around 2015, 2016. There was the scandals with Oscar So White, and I think it was called Oscar So White Part 2 or something, where, it was just a lack of nominees of color. And so the Academy did a major overhaul. I believe at the time it was 93% white and 76% male. So they did a major overhaul to kind of balance that a little bit by bringing in a lot of new Academy members. And then the third part of that is a lot of those new Academy members were international. So we had around 724 members in 2015, which made up about 12.5% of the Academy. And by 2020, that almost doubled or almost tripled, I should say, to over 2,100. And now at 21% of the Academy, because it continued to grow. So those are the big changes. So I think you see that impact a lot of the awards race. The races are a lot more diverse and more international, and you continue to see that impact over the last few years with 2 international directors or an international actor winning an award rather than just being nominated. So those 3 changes, I think, are the big what we've kind of had to adjust expectations or assumptions to.
So, Mark, we've all got our little, quirks and biases when it comes to predicting. So let's get sort of into the weeds with you. What's your formula for predicting? Is there, like a particular precursor award that you find sort of really important? Is it the gossip that you're sort of hearing from inside the machine, or maybe do you value the judgment of like another pundit? What's your formula?
There honestly a little bit of everything you just said, and the column I write for the Awards Watch you mentioned is the Awards Alchemist, and I chose that title. I wanted to have something that is more unique or whatnot. And the reason I chose that is it's kind of a science, is kind of what I do with my predictions. It's very analytical. There's 3 core pillars, if you will, to what I do. The first being data analysis. I look at historical trends, statistical patterns, try and identify connections that may not always be obvious on the surface. I have to be careful about that because, like we just mentioned, there have been so many changes over the last few years. Using all of the history of Oscars no longer really is helpful. You have to almost look at, since 2009 when preferential ballot came to play, or since 2020 when the Academy became a lot more international. So you kind of have to shift the data set that you're using, but it still tells us a lot with, the precursors and what categories, if it shows up in sound, it might have a greater chance at editing, or if it's up for production design, then your visual effects winner a lot of times comes with that nomination. So there's all sorts of stuff. So the second pillar would be cultural zeitgeist. What is the film that's going to reflect the broader moment of the industry and its voters at that time? And I think this is a perfect year that kind of shows that, because One Battle After Another is absolutely the zeitgeist film of the year, right? With everything that's going on politically in our country and in other countries as well. And so you have to take that into consideration. And then the third is gut instinct, right? Not as a replacement for the data, but more to kind of refine it, right? You can look at the data and if you just go by, well, it had a PGA nom, so it's in, that's not how to do it. The third part is, okay, which ones do I see missing? Why would they miss? What are they lacking that other nominees might have in its place? So kind of just that trio of analytics, zeitgeist, and instinct kind of is what I've leaned on over the years.
Yeah, Mark, I really like the production design visual effects relationship. It's often a statistic that I cite on our podcast. So we're into season 6 of our podcast. So we also take some of us of the trio, a mathematical scientific approach as well. So love what you spoke about there. We've also seen sort of an expansion of online communities and punditry and prognostication about awards. And what do you think is underestimated or overestimated by some of those alleged experts?
Yeah, it's a good question because I often have to reflect on myself why I missed something, because nobody's perfect in this, you know, predictions circuit. So I think the two big things that I've kind of learned that I think others may also underestimate are international impact, right? I think I forget if it was 20, I think it was 2020 where I probably learned that lesson the hard way when Anthony Hopkins had won the BAFTA and he upset Chadwick Boseman, and um, there was another winner that year from BAFTA that kind of made me go, "Ooh, I need to start putting maybe a little more weight there." But also, I think the biggest thing we underestimate is understanding that, and Sasha used to say this a lot: the heart wants what the heart wants. This is, these folks are industry, but they often vote with hearts and emotions. So you have to consider the human element when you analyze the race. I think that's how you have something like the King's Speech beating the Social Network and other upsets like that, or things that we thought were upsets. And why a lot of people I think are still sticking with Hamnet over One Battle After Another is Hamnet's the emotional player. It's the one that tugs at your heart, and at least for me, made me weep. So, I think that's a big factor that people maybe sometimes forget about or underestimate.
We've thrown open some questions for you. So we've got an active community within Lights Camera What's the Action, and our first question is from our metal friend, and he wants to ask you is how do win rates compare for double or triple nominees in the same acting category for Best Picture winners versus films that don't win Best Picture? Is the strength of being in a picture winner enough to offset vote splitting?
It's a good question. I had to think about this for a while because we've had 9 instances of since 2000, I think it was, that I looked at, where we had multiple nominees in the same acting category. But only one time of those 9 was it a Best Picture winner, and that was Everything Everywhere All at Once when Jamie Lee Curtis took the Oscar for supporting actress. So that's hard to say because we don't see that scenario enough. But I will tell you, I do think vote splitting is real. I know a lot of people will tell you it's not. It is, in fact, mathematically possible in every category but Best Picture because of the preferential ballot. You can't vote split. Your vote gets redistributed versus splitting. So you very well could have a paint a picture for you if 50% of the, let's say One Battle After Another, we'll use that year, right? Or this year. If Sean Penn and both Benicio del Toro are nominated, let's say 50% of the people voting prefer One Battle After Another as their number one film of any of the other 3 films nominated in that category. But half of them might like Sean Penn, his over-the-top performance, it's more loud, and half might prefer Benicio's more subtle performance. And they may rank them 1, 2 out of the 5, right? The people who rank Penn 1 might rank Del Toro 2 and vice versa. But then you have Stellan, who maybe only 30% of the people prefer that film over the other ones and prefer his performance. And if those two split their votes, in a preferential ballot sense, yes, one of those winners would have, Penn or Del Toro would have won, but this is not preferential. And so now that 30% trumps that combined 50, which is split into 25 each. So I know that was a lot of numbers and whatnot, but it is certainly mathematically possible. It's of course impossible to prove if there was vote splitting, but it is a mathematical possibility with every category but picture. So, I do think if you're in a spot like that, again, 5 out of the 9 went on to one of the 2 won. But again, only one of those 5 was a Best Picture nominee. So I don't know how to answer that first part really, but I do think when you're betting on what will be nominated in the below the line categories, Best Picture is certainly something that I'm looking for. Is, do I think this is going to be a Best Picture winner? Because we know there's down balloting where they, I've done it on Critics' Choice ballots. I'm not ashamed to admit that I voted straight down the line for Oppenheimer in 2023. Any category it was up for, I felt it was the best at. So, that happens with human emotion. People have a favorite film. They're going to vote for it in a category that they are unsure otherwise of, or it's pretty close. They're going to toss their vote to that. So yeah, I do consider that when I'm doing my predictions.
So we have an additional question from Dizzy JB, who asks, with Mora, Skarsgård, Rainsver, Lilius all missing SAG, and both Trier and Panahi missing DGA, is there now a disconnect between the American guilds and the international membership of the Academy?
Yeah, I think absolutely. I think it's clear, right? With all the ones this Dizzy JB mentioned, I mean, they all missed, especially at SAG. That was really shocking. And I have to be honest, I bet against it happening this year. I thought, okay, as the Academy's growing more international, these other voting members they have to see these movies too. They will expand as well. So I bet against it and was wrong. So yeah, they are becoming a little more disconnected, and I don't know that they'll do anything about that. SAG's kind of a hard one because you have the merging of SAG and AFTRA. That probably keeps it more domestic, if anything. Kind of works against international, if I had to guess. But yeah, it is a clear disconnect, though. Yeah.
Righto, let's finish up then, Mark, please, with a quick wrap of your Oscar predictions, like sort of who's winning the above the line categories, and give us, because we're degenerate gamblers here, give us a good long shot bet as well in in any category.
So I'll start with picture. I kind of mentioned One Battle After Another I think it's a sweeper. It's starting to look that way, and again, it's a great movie from Paul Thomas Anderson, who is a very well respected director, and it's like his time kind of feeling, and then the cultural zeitgeist impact is enormous. So I think until we see otherwise, One Battle After Another is your front runner. I think Hamnet and Sinners are its biggest competition, and I think still very much alive. I don't think by any means, even though I do think right now we're looking at a sweeper, this race is not over. As much as it may feel that way, we have to see what the guild and the industry does. They surprise us all the time. And I mentioned Hamnet is the emotional player. Will they vote with their hearts? That might lead to a Hamnet. We'll see. But I think that race has a clear front runner, but not over. And then I think the one race that I think feels pretty much over is director. I think this feels like it has to be Paul Thomas Anderson. Even if you don't give it picture, and maybe there's a split, which we see occasionally, especially in the preferential era. But this is the award to kind of recognize Paul Thomas Anderson. Lead actress, I have Jessie Buckley. It's the performance of the year, in my opinion, and I think that's starting to become a sweeper as well. So look out for her to win. Lead actor, this is going to be a tight race, and I'm very curious about Wagner Moura after that Globes win and the international body. But I think right now I have Timothée Chalamet. I don't feel 100% comfortable with that because Leonardo DiCaprio is great in One Battle After Another, and there tends to be a lead actor win that lately that's gone with picture. So I have a hard time with that category, but right now, if I had to bet, I'd say Timothy. Supporting actress, I think it does seem to be looking like it's either Tiana Taylor for One Battle After Another or Amy Madigan for Weapons. Right now, I'm leaning Tiana Taylor because, like I just mentioned about One Battle After Another, it's probably going to have an acting win based on the recent films. I think we had Honora won actress, Oppenheimer won supporting actor and lead actor. Everything Everywhere at Once won 3 of the 4 acting categories. Coda won supporting actor. Nomadland won actress. So, this decade, every Best Picture winner has an acting winner. And I think this is possibly where that film has its best chance with Tiana. And then in supporting actor, you could argue Benicio del Toro here, but I do think Stellan is the front runner once the international group, like you saw with the Globes, they're a more international body and they awarded him. I think he seems like the veteran actor, and this is the place to recognize that film.
Right, beautiful. Well, you can find Mark at The Contending and awardswatch.com. He's on the Twitter at Mark Likes Movies. That's a big thank you for joining us, Mark Johnson. Thanks, mate.
My pleasure.
Thank you, Mark.
Yeah, no problem. Anytime.
And now we get to the Oscars. Bet365, bless them. They have all 24 markets. Oh, great. Neds and Lads have 21. No shorts there. Sportsbet and BetRight have 20. PointsBet has 7. And Tab only has 6. How can I get my multis together? I only got 6 markets.
Oh my
terrible.
God.
No. Struggling. Best picture, One Battle After Another. The best price is $136 at Sportsbet or Bet365. Sinners, our last episode, it was paying $15. Now it's second fave at $425 is the best at PointsBet. Hamnet was $350 last episode. Now it's $15 is the best at Sportsbet. Marty Supreme, $23. Everything else is over $51.
Max, any sinners for you? Any sinners love in the pocket?
No, and I just don't see it. I just don't see it happening. As every day goes by in the United States, I think it's one battle after another.
Yeah.
Oh, I think in an Academy world where Coda and everything everywhere can get up, I think Sinners is a real chance. I think for 425, I think I'd put it at maybe 350.
All right.
Not this year.
Well, Clayton Davis is really pushing it, really pushing that narrative.
Best Director, PTA is well out in front. The best price is $1.12. Wow, at Tabs. Then there's Kugler, 13. You can get him at Ned's Lads.
He's due.
Chloe Zhao, she was 4 last episode. Now she's out to 21 at Tab. And Safdie and Trier, both 51.
Quick question on Safdie and some of the controversy that's enveloped Marty Supreme over the last few days. Does that affect Marty Supreme's chances, namely Timothy?
I don't think so. I think the story that broke, I think it was the Hollywood Reporter maybe 2 days ago, that investigated that as a kind of, some kind of campaign to derail Timothy Chalamet and the Safdies. I think they're safe.
Speaking of Best Actor, Timothy Chalamet is the favourite. Best price is $128 at Tab. I think he's safe as well, purely because, far out. I think there's real daylight between anyone else coming close to winning. DiCaprio 7, Jordan and Maura both 17, Ethan Hawke 26. I still think Timmy's looking good.
Think so, Tony.
Best Actress, oh dear, Jessie Buckley, $1.06 is the best prize. The best prize at Bet365. Rose Byrne, you can still get it at 13.
Come on, Rose.
Oh, if she wins that SAG, my God, 13. reload. The rest of them at 26. SAG is Rose Byrne's only hope.
Here's a fun fact. I have a little bit of Kate Hudson that I bet on a long time ago.
Oh,
there was a bat signal that hit my algorithm, and I jumped on for a little bit. So I was quite delighted to see the nomination by the almost famous actress.
That would be the upset of the decade, that one.
Supporting actor Skarsgård is favourite. $1.85 is the best price.
Still
you get
good.
that at PointsBet. That's still pretty good. Yeah,
Fantastic.
Somehow, Sean Penn is second favourite, 5 at Bet365. Del Toro 11 at Tab. That's a great bet.
Agree.
Elordi also 11 at PointsBet, and Lindo 26. Why Penn is second favourite is baffling.
Max, you've got a fair bit of Skarsgård.
Yep, absolutely. Yep,
Great.
I'm still confident.
Supporting actress Tiana Taylor is outright fave. 140 is the best at PointsBet. Madigan out to 650 at Tab. That's not too bad. Lilias 9, Masaku 17, Elle Fanning 51. Boom. Casting. Sinners is favourite. 133 is the best at Neds and Lads. One Battle 360. Secret Agent is third favourite for casting, even though it's 19 at Bet365. Marty Supreme 21 and Hamnet 21.
Are there any possibilities of spoils in this one?
It's a really interesting one, Max. The market is just, everyone's decided. It's Sinners. I don't really get it.
Well, it's kind of the booby prize for Sinners.
Well, that's how people are perceiving casting, the casting award.
Yeah.
Sinners, out of all those, well, maybe Secret Agent has the largest cast. As I've said previously, Marty Supreme has the most eclectic cast.
Abel Ferrara, come on.
Kevin O'Leary.
I still like Marty Supreme, especially at 21.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Original screenplay, Sinners is well out in front. $1.25 is the best at Sportsbet. Marty Supreme 7. It was just an accident. 8 at Ned's and Lads. Sentimental value 13. Blue Moon 34. Imagine that at Ned's for original screenplay. I think this is the Kugler Award.
I think so, Tony.
Adapted screenplay, One Battle, $1.08 is the best price at Sportsbet. Wow. Hamnet 12, Train Dreams 15, Begonia 21, Frankenstein 26. Yep, this is one of a few PTA I believe will get on the note.
Correct.
International feature, here we go. Sentimental value is favourite. $1.58 is the best price at BetRight. Secret Agent, second favourite, $2.50 at Sportsbet. And then Accident, 13 at Bet365. I will definitely have something to say about that later. Hidden Rajab, 26. Surat, we need to talk about Surat. 41 at Ned's. We do need to talk about Surat.
It's probably a stay away from me. I don't know what to do here. I think when Sentimental Value in particular landed its film editing nomination, I thought, the Academy really liked this film. So I feel like it's priced well at the moment. It's probably going to be a stay away category for me.
Animated feature, K-pop is just steamrolling. $1.10 is the best at Bet365. Zootopia 2, 11 at Sportsbet. Little Amelie, this has had a bit of movement. It's paying 10 at Sportsbet, 41 at PointsBet. And Arco and Elio are also 41. Close to $2 billion. I still think Zootopia 2 is a chance. I think K-pop's going to win the song, no question. But I don't know how you deny $2 billion.
I think the watch out here, Tony, is that what's the name of K-pop Demon Hunters did not get that BAFTA nomination, right? So maybe this is where yours Zootopia picks up a bit of steam. And for any believers in Zootopia, now would be the time to pull the trigger.
Editing. Oh, wow. Well, we have to talk about editing. We'll go through the odds first. One Battle After Another is favourite. 167 is the best at BetRight for a 3-hour film. It's going to win editing. Yep. F1 is second favourite. 263 at Ned's and Lads is a very good price. Marty Supreme 12, Sinners 13. Sentimental Value 67. Now, when the editing market first opened, it was at 11, wasn't it, Max?
Yeah.
It was at 11. It was still second favorite, I think, but it was paying 11. And Max, you went big. And I think very, very smartly went big at 11 because, in modern Oscar history, the link between sound and editing is very, very strong.
And it's 97% chance to win sound this year, I think.
And for the bookies to dismiss that and dismiss F1 at $11, that was just absolute craziness. But 263 is still very, very good.
Yeah, 11 is the biggest mistake of the year, I think, for the Oscars.
Max, it's going to be hilarious on game day, Oscar Sunday, if you win the Milkshake Award on the back of this play. You got Tony and I who put on all the work and all the algorithms, all the permutations, and Mr. One Kill, One Shot, bang.
Yeah.
Done.
Yeah. It's a sniper, yeah.
I've got a fair bit of F1 at 9-1, but I also have some other thoughts on that category a little bit later.
Cinematography, Sinners. Finally, is a female cinematographer going to get up? Its favourite, 156 is the best at BetRight. Train Dreams, One Battle, both 450. Marty Supreme, 34. Frankenstein, 35. 156 that's pretty short for Sinners for the very first female cinematographer.
It makes sense. Yeah. The more that I think about it, the more I think Sinners for this one.
Yeah, it's priced about right. What do you think about Train Dreams prospects?
No, No, I
No?
think no. I'm committed to Sinners for
Okay.
cinematography for this one. I think
Production design, Frankenstein, of course, favorite 113 at BetRight is the best. Sinners at 7, One Battle 21, Hamnet 26, Mighty Supreme 26. Yes, I can see the Del Toro sweep in the craft, in the production, in the costume, and in the makeup.
Yep, me too.
Visual effects, Avatar, very short, $1.07 at Sportsbet is the best. F1 for visual effects is second fave at 13. Bet 365. That's interesting. Sinners 15, Lost Bus 26, Jurassic World at 34. Is everyone just sick of dinosaurs?
But we've seen how many times have we seen Jurassic? Just within the last 10 years, there's been 3 films, isn't it?
Original score. Oh, poor Johnny Greenwood. Sinners is favorite. $1.06 is the best price at Ned's, lads.
Wow.
And then One Battle 13. You can get it at Bet 365.
Ooh,
Wow.
really?
Yeah, 13's pretty good. I think it's going to be is it worth $10? Probably not.
Come on.
Hamnet 17, Frankenstein 19, Begonia 21. Yeah, Sinners seems to just be unstoppable in score for some reason.
I agree, Tony. Yeah. Geez, there's some really short prices for craft when we're sort of 5 to 6 weeks away.
Yeah.
Sound, F1, $1.17 at Ned's is the best. Sinners $6.50, One Battle 15. Surratt 21. Did either of you think the sound design in Surratt was notable, let alone extraordinary?
100%. Loved it. An all-girl sound design team, Tony. I pumped it up to 11. I was just immersed in the soundscape. Looking forward to chatting about that one.
Far out, my God. Frankenstein 29. Yes, F1 all the way. Original song, Gonna Be Golden from K-pop, $1.06 at Ned's is the best. Far out, that's very short. Then Sinners 8, Train Dreams, Nick Cave 21, Diane Warren 21, and Sweet Dreams of Joy. I have no idea. From Viva Verdi. No idea about that film, but it's paying $31. Get in there. Costume design, Frankenstein, $1.07 at BetRight, of course. Sinners 12, Hamnet 13, Mighty Supreme 21. Avatar for costume design, what? 26. Frankenstein all the way. Makeup hairstyling, Frankenstein all the way. $1.09 is the best at Sportsbet. Sinners 13. Smashing Machine, bless, at 17 at Ned's. Ugly Stepsister, oh, well done, 21. And Kokuho is paying 26.
What's Ugly Stepsister?
It's a horror film.
Recommend.
Oh, you've seen it,
Yeah.
Professor?
Yes.
And recommend. Wow.
I'll contact my screener friends there, Max, and see if we can get you a copy.
Oh, how did you come across that?
Just some of the memberships I'm part of.
Oh, it's a
Yeah.
Norwegian film, right?
Yes.
Documentary feature, Perfect Neighbor, is way out in front. $1.25 is the best price at Bet365. Mr. Nobody Against Putin 6, Alabama. This is Max's favorite at 11. Come See Me in the Good Light 11. Cutting Through Rocks 26. Perfect Neighbor. That looks really hard to beat.
Yeah.
It does. It's just the Netflix awareness of it all. But I do have some ideas on how to strike against the perfect neighbor a little bit later.
And then we've got the shorts categories. Yeah, only carried by Bet365, unfortunately. Let's start with Doco Short. All the Empty Rooms at $1.83. For some reason, Perfectly Strangeness is second favorite at $4.50. And if you've seen it, you'll know why that's weird. The Devil is Busy. This is a day in the life, so to speak, of an abortion clinic. Isn't that a happy time? At $4.75 is the third fave. Armed Only with a Camera, paying $5. That's very good. We'll talk about the Doco Shorts soon, hopefully. And Children No More. all the other candidates are 5 and under. Children No More, 41. Bookies really don't like that at all. Animated short, The Girl Who Cried Pearls is favorite at $2.20. The Butterfly is very close behind, $2.37. Retirement Plan 5, Three Sisters 15, Forever Green 15. Yes, I've only seen 2 of these so far, so we won't comment just yet. And then live action short, Two People Exchanging Saliva. Surely that title's just going to turn people off. People who don't even see it, they just see it on the ballot and go, ugh, no, I'm not doing that. But that's favorite, $2.30.
I think the opposite, Tony.
Really? Do you reckon they're going to seek it out?
they're going to rush into that title and say, yep, that sounds good. I'll pick that one.
Okay. The Singers, 350. Butcher Stain, 4. Friend of Dorothy at 6. And Jane Austen's period. Jane Austen's period drama, 15. Friend of Dorothy, Professor. Yeah, that was a bit of a visceral reaction there.
I do have a light investment, Tony, so you don't have to bet on what you like.
That's absolutely true. So let's talk about that. Why not? Let's finish up with some best bets, our actions, family values. Professor, what are you betting on that you don't like and that you do like as well?
Well, Tony, just an ideas cupboard, if I may. So in the Razzies, maybe we'll see the markets reopen there with some of our bookmaking friends. If the price is right, Ice Cube and his Zoom camera, worst screen combination. That's a real slam dunk, that one. Also in the ideas cupboard, now this is prompted by our friends over there at Oscar's Model. Their model has Sinners for film editing at a 58% win probability. How intriguing. If Sinners wins Ace Eddies, we've still got BAFTAs to come. Sinners is currently paying at 12-1 odds for film editing. And geez, won't that be scary on Oscar Sunday if it wins? And what might happen there in Best Picture. So that's just one to keep an eye on. And then sound. Sound is also, the Sinners is the front runner. Oscar's Model have it as a 43% front runner. BAFTA's still to come. So sound for Sinners to win the Oscar is paying a generous $6.50. So just something to think about as we have more precursors to come down the pipe. So then getting into Oscars, documentary short. I think there's two really strong contenders here. We've got All the Empty Rooms at $1.83. Armed with Only One Camera is paying $5. That's available at Bet365. Medium to high conviction there. For animated short, The Girl Who Cried Pearls at $2.20. That's a medium level conviction. And then for live action short, we've got Two People Exchanging Saliva. And then the Dorothy film, I think, is another one also to have ready. Then we move over to the Actor Awards, also known as Screen Actor Guild Awards there, Tony. This is a market that's recently been pulled down. Rest in peace for Catherine O'Hara. This is a market that might be published again soon, but about 12 hours ago, she was paying 17-1 to win Outstanding Performance by a Female Actor in a Comedy Series. That's it for me, Tony.
Very nice, Max. Have you got any best bets for us?
Yeah, I think we'll start with the long shot, and it's a bet against Sinners, and that's for best score. Look, yeah, it'll probably go Sinners, but I think you need to believe in Johnny Greenwood to some extent, and so we'll go for one battle after another at 13 for score, just a very small investment there. Even at $2.63, I think F1 for editing is still good value. It's not $11, but that was the mistake of the mistake, and that was one that only existed for a short period of time. But $2.63 is still worthwhile to get on that one, I think. And then one recommendation from the Actor Awards for Best Film. These are available on Sportsbet, and at $1.57, the horror film Bring Her Back, I think, is clearly, we all agree that it's an outstanding film, the best Australian film of the year, even though I haven't seen all of the other ones as well. But there is a split between kind of independent film and mainline film. So Bring Her Back at $1.57 for best film at the Australian Actor Awards.
Right. Oscars for me, like I said, it was just an accident. I think it has to win something. So there's international feature. You can get it 13 at Ned's and Bet365, or original screenplay 8 at Ned's Lads. I think, just throw $10-12 on that and see what happens. Doco Short, agree with Professor. All the Empty Rooms, I think it's the clear standout of the nominees at $1.83 at Bet365. High conviction there. Agree with Max. Editing, F1, $2.63 at Ned's is still a very good price. BAFTAs, British film, I Swear is paying $9 at Bet365. I think that's good for a cheeky $10. Like I said, it's got lead actor nomination, supporting actor, original screenplay, casting, rising star. No market for rising star, unfortunately. If there is where you are, then jump on Robert Aramayo from I Swear for that. But yeah, at $9, I think that's a good bet. BAFTA supporting actress Masaku, $4.50 at Ned's. I think there could be something there. SAG Awards Ensemble. Sinners is not the favourite for SAG Ensemble. One Battle is the favourite at $172. Sinners is paying $237 at Sportsbet. Sinners is outright fave on Gold Derby, but Sportsbet has got it backwards for some reason. I like Sinners there for SAG Ensemble. Supporting actor SAG, a play against the favourite Elordi here. Del Toro at $288. You could possibly cover with Sean Penn for $250 as well, but definitely Del Toro. He's outright favourite on Gold Derby as well, and he's paying $288. Silliness. And that is all. Thank you for listening. That was a big one. Thank you, Professor.
Thank you so much, Tony.
Thank you, Max.
Great job, Tony.
Super. We're at lightscapitalwhatstheaction.com, Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, LCWT Action. We'll try and be back before the BAFTAs and the SAGs just to have a closer look at those markets. That could be nice. And remember, it's a thrill to be nominated, but it's even better to be compensated.